Good evening, everyone. Trevor the Aviator here. I am currently in Atlanta, Georgia right now on what is probably going to be the longest escalator ride of my life. But anyways, I just got done with having an amazing time here in Atlanta and actually on my way back to the airport because tonight I am going to be trying out a new airline. So for the first time ever, I will be taking Frontier Airlines back to Chicago Midway. And I heard this is kind of an airline that's not the greatest, but we'll see what ends up happening. In the meantime, I'm gonna hop onto the train here, and I will see you guys when I get to the airport. However, though, there's actually some highlights that I have to show you guys from my time here in Atlanta. So in a moment, I'll actually show some clips in that during my time here in Atlanta. And I will see you guys when I am at the airport. Okay, so I have just arrived here at the airport, and I can see from here security tonight is going to be a long time. So unfortunately, I don't have some time to explore the terminal because I should probably get in line right now. It is a lot of people that are here, so I'll see you guys after I go through security. Well, so I just got through security, and it was about an hour wait and probably the busiest security line that I have ever experienced. So if you guys are ever going through Atlanta or flying out, I will say definitely get some extra time when it comes to security. But I still got a lot of time to spare, luckily, before the flight, so I'm actually going to do some exploring around and then also get some dinner as well before our flight departs late tonight. Well, so that was quite an experience when it came to the security at Atlanta. I will say, despite it being an hour long, the process of it was actually relatively smooth. So with that, it was fortunate with all of that happening for the most part. But after I got through security, I headed my way down to the food court in one of the concourses and ended up having some dinner, and this area was also pretty packed as well. After I ate some dinner from Panda Express, I ended up doing a little bit of plane spotting from inside of the terminal, and Atlanta does provide some pretty good angles in that inside of the terminal for if any of you guys want to get some pictures and that some airplanes from within the terminal. It's better in the daytime though, but there was still a little bit of action going on at night. After I was done doing a little bit of plane spotting, I started heading my way down to the gate to where my flight will be at. And for tonight's flight, I will be located at gate E6, and with this flight I will be flying on the Airbus A320neo, which for this one was probably one of the latest flights that I have ever departed, with the exception of a red eye. So it is now time for us to board our flight and start the 2-hour journey back up to Chicago Midway.
Just as soon as you have found your assigned row, allow the passengers behind you to make it to their seats as well. Take a look.
After taking off from what felt like a very short transition from the gate, we ended up seeing the Atlanta area below as we ended up heading our way to cruising altitude. With seeing the Atlanta area on the night that this was recorded, it was actually pretty cool to see. And with it being a clear night, it ended up providing quite some views of the surrounding area that was below. One thing I would like to note is that before we ended up taking off back at the gate, the flight attendants decided to be a little bit like some of the Southwest Airlines flight attendants and be able to have a little bit of fun and cracking some jokes here and there, which made it more entertaining in that as we were waiting for takeoff. And they had some pretty good jokes and such around. And also with Chicago fans on this plane, they also gave updates on the Chicago Bears back when this was recorded at that time. So they provided the Chicago sports fans with constant updates as well. And with that, people were like, "Oh my gosh, the Bears won!" So you had some reactions like that happening. And after we were at cruising altitude, I decided to take a little bit of a look around the airplane to see what it was like. It was nothing really too fancy, and also it was pretty dark for the most part. But as far as the seat goes for 2 nights flight, I will say for the seat, it was pretty standard for the most part, and I did not really expect anything too much out of it. The tray table though was pretty small, but it was bearable though for only a 2-hour flight. And also as well in terms of the seating as well, since this was a short flight, it was pretty bearable, but I'm not too sure if this would be able to do if it was like a longer flight. But since this was only a 2-hour flight, I didn't mind it too much with that happening. And it wasn't bad, but it wasn't necessarily great either. It was just pretty standard and didn't really think too much about it for the most part. And after what felt like an absolute breeze with how fast this flight was going, we were not really that far away from starting our descent. So with that, it is time to sit back and relax as we head our way into Chicago Midway. this flight for tonight, it was not a bad flight overall, but I will say it wasn't really anything to stand out either in regards to anything in particular. The flight attendants, I will say, were pretty interesting on this flight with giving updates to Chicago fans and also as well cracking some jokes in that here and there too. So that made it a bit interesting, especially when we were in Atlanta. But in comparisons to Spirit and Allegiant, so I know Frontier people compare it to that. I will say I did find flying on Spirit to be better, but however, Frontier I'd say is still a bearable airline to fly on. I have not flown on Allegiant yet and hoping to cross that airline off the list sometime soon as well. So we'll have to see how that is in the future. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys stayed around to this long, thank you very much for watching. And if you guys are interested in watching some more of my content, then go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And feel free to let me know what you think of the video. Until then, this is Trevor the Aviator from Chicago Midway International Airport, where I will see you guys again very shortly.